Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and today I wanted to do something a little bit differently. Death Knight launched in Hearthstone just under a year ago, and the more I think about it and the more I've seen things with the class, I just want to talk about how I feel Blizzard, after what was pretty much a disaster with the Demon Hunter launch back in 2020, absolutely nailed the Death Knight class, and just give my thoughts and takes on the class as a whole as we've seen it evolve or kind of not evolve over the past year. And as always, if you enjoy the content on the channel, feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like as we're on the road to 75,000 subscribers. So yes, if you haven't been playing Hearthstone and you're watching this channel for some reason, back last December, March the Lich King expansion came with a, well, was it a lot of fanfare? It was some fanfare of the Lich King, the Death Knight class being introduced to the game. And unlock the class, all you had to do was, once this was loaded in the game, the March the Lich King prologue, unlock the class, and well, it saw quite the unique development, as it was the only class in the game to have its own unique rune system, own deck building requirement with, you could go a whole triple blood, you could throw a frost in there, an unholy, and we've had a full year of this, and we have talked about the rune system, its flaws. It is severely flawed in a lot of ways, where you only have 10 cards per expansion, 3 in the mini set, to try and support this. But when they launched it, hey, it worked out pretty well. We had 3 runes. All these decks were really good at some point, got nerfed at some point, and today's game still see play to an extent in every facet. When it launched, there were so many cards that went to the game. They had like the Path of Arthus little mini set that had a bunch of pretty relevant meta cards. Of course, the expansion cards for March the Lich King, as well as the core set. So that felt pretty good, right? To get going in there with all those cards. And then as time has gone on, we've seen more cards added with Festival Legends, which honestly, the majority of these cards have not seen a ton of play. They basically boosted either an Unholy, a Blood strategy, a Frost strategy. They try to make Rainbow work. It is yet to this day. And Titans has seen the Plague archetype introduced to the game, which has been buffed a bunch of times, still middling tier, it's all right, and the Primus. But what is this video about? Like, why am I talking about this? I just want to talk about how much better Death Knight has been for Hearthstone than if you compare it to Demon Hunter. When Demon Hunter launched, there was so much fanfare regarding it, around it. It was just during the beginning of the pandemic, so the timing was, I guess, good there in a pad situation. But if you take a look, I don't know if I'll try and put the comparisons, the Demon Hunter like reveal trailer or like whatever had one of the most highest view counts ever for a Hearthstone video on YouTube, and compare that to the Death Knight one that launched a couple years later in December for some reason. Barely got anything, right, in comparison. But when Demon Hunter launched, it had the quickest nerfs ever. It was super unbalanced. We saw 4, and this is unprecedented, day 1 nerfs. And by the end of that expansion cycle, we were at like 12, 13, 14 cards that had to get nerfed to make Demon Hunter not like this oppressive, super unfun class to face that only really played one way, which was just kill you really fast. It was extremely frustrating. So when Death Knight was announced, a lot of us were worried that it would be like broken, insane, and ironically, it wasn't even that bad. It underperformed quite a bit, considering I even made a video pretty early on in its launch talking about Blizzard can't be happy. Death Knight wasn't even World Championships. You couldn't even ban the class. They try to make it like the really easy pick for people is like almost worse. Well, not worse than Warrior, because Warriors, I mean, Warrior took a long time to get good. My God, going down memory road, looking at these numbers. Yeah, Death Knight out the gate wasn't even that good. They had to buff a bunch of stuff. They bunched a lot of cards, and then eventually it became so good that as I said, they nerfed a bunch of archetypes. But the cool thing about Death Knight, and I have to say, is it wasn't just a class that hit you in the face. Frost could do that. Unholy could do that. Blood is a lot more of a controlled class, but basically it was like 3 classes in one. And the coolest part about it is the fact that people seem to genuinely like Death Knight, even if it's not broken. If you look at like the latest Vicious Syndicate Data Reaper report, you take a look at the popularity of classes across all ranks. Death Knight 3rd. it's one of the worst performing classes on ladder at high ranks. Like Plague is kind of unplayable, Unholy is kind of unplayable, but that's like it is still the third most, and it was the most popular class on ladder up until like a month ago, according to Vicious Syndicate, of course, on their Data Reaper report. And Deathlight has not been in a dominant or really good spot since like the triple rune discover thing went away. Like they couldn't discover triple rune cards. That's been quite a while. And like looking at HS replay across all ranks, Deathlight the second worst class. But you take a look at the meta and you go to popularity. What's the most popular deck on ladder? Plague Deathlight. Plague Deathlight. It's not like it's like the most accessible thing too, right? It's not like because you just get the Deathlight cards for free. Plague Deathlight, you have to have some epics, you have to have the legendary, you gotta craft your way to get this deck, and it's the most popular deck, even at legend ranks. I know there's like the influx of druids and all of that, but even then, you have Blood Death Knight well up there, Unholy Death Knight, above like decks like Mech Rogue, which are way better, you know, and not even that expensive for the most part. Drum Druid, all these really good decks. It is always up there in popularity, and to me that's got to be like a screaming success for a new class, that even when it's not that great, even when it's just like good or whatever, everybody just seems to want to play it. And I have heard the complaints about like Infinite Discover from Blood DK trying to kill them through all that health. There's always complaints. There's always complaints about everything. That's what our channel's founded on. Let's get salty and all that. But I have to give credit for, you know, there is the rune problems. There's all that stuff with Death Knight, but it has been such a refreshing addition to the game that even though it's not popping up as some oppressive deck, I got to go all the way down to look at 51%. Most popular deck. People are playing Death Knight. It seems to be really popular. The only issue is I wish it didn't launch like last December, and I wish it like really helped boost Hearthstone, because I don't know how much it boosts, but I feel like people did come back to try it out, and it does seem to be a class that people want to play. And I mean, if we take a look at the popularity, let's find a Demon Hunter deck on this list. I know Demon Hunter's struggling, probably bad timing on it, but even then, that is the other new class, and you have to go all the way down to Relic DH, which is like 0.8%, at least on HS replay users. So I just want to give credit to the team where it's due. They seem to really learn from the lessons of what, you know, Demon Hunter came out super broken, really like not diverse in how you could play it until later when like Soul Fragment Demon Hunter came out and Lifesteal, but most of it just came down to murdering your opponent, whether through OTKs or whatever, or just pure damage. It's always felt like a class that when it's good, it's really frustrating to face, whereas Death Knight is just a class that people want to play no matter what, and I feel like don't even complain that much when they face it. So I'd love to hear your guys' takes on Death Knight, whether you like the class, you're indifferent, you hate it, whatever, but I do think it has been the best addition to like standard Hearthstone in, well, ages. The core set probably, right? The free core set, pretty rad, and Death Knight's probably number 2 on that list. And now if we could eliminate some mass mana cheat and some broken stuff on ladder, we could maybe add that to the list if that ever happens. It's probably never going to happen, is it? Anyways, maybe next video we'll talk about stuff that might need to get nerfed or whatever. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.